Hey, this is Donna Hetzler with New Dawn Realty, and we are here with What's Up Wednesday. What's going on in the real estate world, right? I've got Janessa Turbis and Denise Gerhardt, and today you're going to be blessed with Valerie Fisher, Prime Lending, and she's going to give us her insight and input as well. So welcome, Valerie. So glad to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
You look heavenly, let me just say. You've got the light coming up over the earth, and it's just like the heavens are like, oh, she's
out of this world.
Out of this world. It's great.
You would think I would know how to do this tech stuff.
No,
Not true.
it's very cool. I love that setting in the background. I had done our New Dawn Realty logo behind me a couple weeks ago, and my hands kept fading into the white screen, and it kind of looked ghostly. So I haven't ventured back out to do it, but I love your backdrop. That's wonderful. So if you want lending that's out of this world, you can call Prime Lending, right? So there's lots going on in the marketplace. Janessa is going to keep us on track because we are trying to keep these videos kind of condensed so you're not watching too long. But there's a lot to talk about. Oh my gosh, I was listening to you, and I know we're all big Brian Buffini fans. We listen to his podcast, The Brian Buffini Show. It's not just for people who are in the real estate industry. It's also for consumers. And he's just a bundle of joy. I really enjoy his accent when he talks about being married for 33 years. He's from Ireland. And I know we've been at some of his live events, and Valerie and I walked away and Denise, we were all walking away with our little Irish accents and trying to mimic Brian, right? But he's always got so much good information. And I was listening to just last week one of his podcasts on. He was talking to the Attorney General in Nevada, and there's a lot of scams going on in the marketplace, especially with this whole COVID thing. I think there's a lot of people out there with a lot of time on their hands, and criminals are looking for new and improved ways to do stuff. So are you ladies seeing stuff out there with scams, and what warning should we give our clients and the public? Denise is like, hold up. Well, I know that Brian was like, there's these COVID-19 scams, and we will get you an 800 number too. But, you know, some of the things that we've seen, and I know it was like, I really put you guys on the spot, but things that we've seen at closings and that we've talked about are like the scams where you get, after you close your transaction, you'll get in the mail something that says for, I think it's like $89 or $90, pay us and we'll get you a copy of your warranty deed. You remember those, ladies? And it's not a scam in the sense that they technically do deliver your warranty deed to you, but you get a copy of that in the mail, or I mean, at your closing. So you don't need a copy of it in the mail, right? You get it at your closing. You can always call us, and all of us have copies of the files after closing. So if you get those, I mean, that's, even though you get what they're saying that you get, you don't need it. You don't need to pay that money. I've seen scams on home security systems where they're called. Now they're very aggressive, and they say your real estate agent says you need a security system, and so on and so forth. We've heard things from I'm from the IRS, and you closed on this house, and there are taxes due, and you need to figure it out now. Really aggressive calls. So anytime you get a scam or a call or a threat to contact us, we are here. We're your advocates for that. And
urgency, because they like to play on your emotions and get you to work on quickly without you thinking.
Yes, that is a great point there, Valerie. And I've even seen agents in the business like call me. Like I had a listing, and right after they closed, the new buyer was getting a call from somebody saying they're from the IRS, and he actually showed up at the front door with a business card, and the agent was even taken in, right? She called me and she's like, there was taxes that weren't paid, and they're pressuring my clients, and they have a business card. I'm like, well, anybody can get a business card, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what title is for, right? To make sure that all those tax liens and whatever is paid off. So a lot of interesting stuff. Oh, and wire fraud, right? That's a big one. Maybe Valerie can speak into that a little bit.
Well, when you get ready to do a closing on a real estate, it's really important not to accept wiring instructions from anyone except the title company. And you don't accept them via email for sure. You call the title company and get those directly from them, because there are a lot of scammers out there that they know how to spoof the email to make it look like it's coming from the title company when in fact it isn't. And then you send your wire for your closing and it goes to the scammer instead of the title company. Super important to call the title company yourself. Don't accept it from anybody else. Then you know your money in the right place.
I was at a class put on by a title company, and the closer who was speaking actually went from the closing table to her desk. And there was an email there saying, hey, from one of the clients, I don't remember if it was buyer or seller, but hey, we've changed our mind. Can you wire the funds here? And she literally had just left the closing table to go back to her desk. And so she immediately called the client and was like, did you email me? Because you just left and you filled out your wiring instructions. And they said, no, we did not email you. So yes, it can happen that fast. And it's one of the biggest scams that's out there is wire fraud right now. And it's huge. So definitely make sure that things are sent securely to you, which would be from the title company, and always check. And I want to just, before we get talking about other stuff, I want to give this 800 number out for scams. I believe it is for the Nevada Attorney General's office, but if they can't help you there, they will get you to your local. So this is from our friend, Brian Buffini. I say that because I feel like I know him personally, right? From listening to him and seeing him at some of his masterminds. But the number is 888-434-9989. 888-434-9989 if you are experiencing any types of scam, especially from COVID-19, or seeing something new that's popping up right now. So with that, what else is going on in the marketplace? Still lots of changes, right? Hard time scheduling showings. You ladies are out there hitting the streets like showing. And it's hard, isn't it, to get all those showings lined up?
Yeah, it definitely is. They all have time restrictions, and we just had our office meeting, and another agent experienced this, and I experienced this last weekend where the agent before me was running late. And I mean, they went like 15 minutes over their showing time.
Yeah.
So I had to contact the listing agent. I was like, hey, I got to get in this house. I have scheduled showings. And they're like, oh, sorry, the person before you was late. And I was like, but I got to go. I want to show your house. So, and especially because there's no, to keep you all safe, there's no overlap with showing agents right now. So only the showing agent and 2 of their clients in a property at one time. And so adhering to all of that, it's definitely tricky, but I don't think it's, Donna was saying earlier, some of these practices, hopefully actually kind of stay in place just to, keep everybody safe and to really respect the properties, the owner's property. People are pretty receptive to that. So
are you feeling pressured at a property, Denise, or is the time frame's pretty good, like that 30-minute window? Is it okay so far?
It's been okay so far, but I can see how it would be a challenge if you're running late, your client's running late, or because you are only allowed that window. And it used to be you could stand outside and wait for them to finish up and sometimes even join each other, but now that's not okay. So
right.
And I wanted to comment that recently I had a listing and I supplied gloves, booties, masks, hand sanitizer, and wipes, just as a courtesy to my client to help protect her from people that are coming in.
And I also say, you have the cutest little bags that you did with like the New Dawn Realty and your card. And I mean, it was just so cute. I tried to do that. I'm so not Martha Stewart, and it looks like, I don't know, something out of a, it was all balled up and didn't look good. So yours was so cute.
Also, I have a questionnaire you have to answer before you go in. It says, have you traveled outside the country in the last 30 days? Have you been exposed to any communicable diseases, not just COVID, but communicable diseases in the last 30 days? Or are you experiencing any symptoms? If you are, please reschedule.
Good. And that's where it's important. We've got to follow the rules. We have a state license, and we've got to follow, what's going on, and our local board directs us in that and has a lot of good protocols that we can put in place to protect you as the seller or you as the buyer. But that's where it's important really to make sure that you have a good seasoned agent, right? New Dawn Realty was here during the Great Recession, 2008, and as somebody who has been really rooted in the business, I have worked with agents who have maybe done a deal or two in a year, and you can tell the experience level is not there. A lot of those times they fall apart. It is so important. And if you can find somebody who is a realtor, and I know we were talking about that, Janessa, and the importance of that, but maybe you can share a little with our audience on why it's so important.
Well, and so before I got into the business, I didn't really know the difference. Not every real estate agent, not every licensee is a realtor. So to be a realtor, you have to be a part of the Association of Realtors. And we are a part of the Colorado Association of Realtors as well as the National Association of Realtors. So we are classified as realtors. We have a strict code of ethics that we have to follow, classes that we have to take. We have more knowledge. So you definitely want to make sure that you ask that question when you're working with somebody on whether they are a part of the Association of Realtors, just because we have that strict protocol and it's all there to protect you. And not to mention, we have so many resources through all of these, through our board, through the organizations, to keep you guys up to date, to keep, up to date on the market. And especially right now with everything that's going on with COVID. And so we have all those resources, and we're here to share those with you and make sure that we're following that protocol to keep you guys safe.
Yes. And I know Valerie's had some experiences with both, maybe inexperienced and maybe non-realtors as well. What have you seen?
Well, I've seen more often than not the less experienced realtors, or the ones who are not actually a realtor, just a licensee. They end up asking me more questions about the real estate transaction, and I'm not a licensed realtor. I'm a licensed mortgage lender.
Right.
And so that becomes very awkward when I know that they're not serving their clients well. And so it is critical that you choose a realtor, and one with experience and with the resources that they need in order to handle whatever happens in a real estate transaction. There's always some challenge in every real estate transaction. We don't ever know what it's going to be going into it. There's always a challenge, and you need someone who knows how to handle that when it happens, and keep everybody calm in the midst, because they've seen it, they do know what to do. And if they haven't, they've got resources to figure out what to do.
Right. Yeah, there's so much that goes on in a transaction. It's not just opening doors to people and finding a house. I mean, we've got to know how to read title work and balance settlement sheets and negotiations, right? And then the home inspection and making sure things are worded properly and protecting and advocating for our clients. So there's so much that goes behind it. And I just closed a dear friend's house in Lakewood, and she said, honey, you couldn't pay me enough to do your job. She's like, you do a lot. I didn't realize like how much you do in a transaction. And until she experienced it from start to finish. And there's a lot that goes.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yep. And I love how, Denise, you've become so detailed oriented in all of it too. And, sometimes I'll pull some of your clauses out of the CTM contracts and be like, ooh, that's really good, Denise. I'm going to use that, because we share our wording together and our experience and what's worked in a contract and what hasn't. So I've really enjoyed the way you think in transactions too. So yeah, it's been good.
I enjoy what I do. It's important to do what you love. Wake up and want to go do the thing that you love. I want to share with you this morning. I woke up and I was thinking about what we were going to discuss today. And I have to tell you that Warren Buffett, I watched a little video about him, and he said that, where, I got to remember what the note was. Sorry. Oh, never mind. Somebody else talk till I remember.
All right, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Well,
next week.
yeah, or to be continued next week.
He said, you need to invest in yourself. First of all, you need to invest in yourself. And when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about how could people invest in themselves. One thing is a home, and people are staying home right now with this COVID. There was a number somewhere, 75% of all people that are staying home would like to continue working from home, and they want to upgrade or buy a nicer house so they can have a nice office. That's just something to think about.
Right. Oh, definitely. I like that, investing in yourself, because your home is where, you create a life and you create memories. And it can also be a very successful place in your corner of the house with your office and creating a very thriving business just from working from home. So I hope people are afforded to do that. Valerie, what are you seeing in the lending side of things?
It's been an interesting couple of months for sure.
Yeah.
When the quarantine happened, initially there was ridiculous volatility in the market. Rates could swing as much as 2% in any given day. Now that volatility has settled down and rates are really, really good. And of course they vary. If you have 10 people, you're going to have 10 different scenarios with credit scores and debt to income ratio and down payment and type of loan, et cetera, et cetera. So, rates are in the threes, depending on your details, which is amazing. And there, I've seen them dip a little below 3 on some occasions, and that's incredible.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we saw the first month was that a lot of mortgage products either went away completely or they seriously retracted. And so then a lot of people who were able to get pre-approved on something couldn't get into that loan after all, because things changed on a dime. Yeah. We're seeing a little bit of loosening of that now. We're seeing some of those products come back, and not all yet. But I imagine that we will begin to see more and more every week. And I am seeing that there are some very serious buyers out there looking for homes to buy, and they can't find them. So, anybody that is even thinking about selling, this is this good time, because people are ready and they're excited. They've been cooped up for 2 months, and then they realize, okay, these things that kind of irritated us a little bit before or didn't really quite fit us before, now they really don't fit us, and we're really, really ready to move on. And so this is such a good time to sell your house and find something else for you.
Yes, and when we were talking last night, it was a really good point with the serious buyers that are coming out, because, there are looky-loos and people that you're competing with, and then you see something come back on the market because they're like, no, I don't think I really want that, or I paid too much. And so, yes, there's a bunch of serious buyers out there right now, which is great.
Yes. And then one thing that I'm seeing, rates have always been sensitive to credit scores. But now they're very sensitive to credit scores. So it's more important than ever before to keep your credit score up. And then mortgage insurance is even more sensitive to credit scores than it has ever been. And any 20-point swing in a credit score could mean $100 or more a month difference in your mortgage insurance premium if you have less than 20% down. So that's a big change. I've seen some mortgage insurance quotes that I never thought I'd see in my life. And so it's really important. Then the other thing that I'm seeing is the forbearances. Kind of an interesting time in our lives. The CARES Act has allowed people to apply for forbearance without showing proof that they have hardship. And so the forbearance rates are almost at 10% of all mortgages nationwide.
Wow.
And I was reading a report that I can't remember the exact percentage right now, but something like 70 some odd percent of those people didn't actually need a forbearance. They just signed up because they could.
Interesting.
So
So does that mean they're untouchable? Because we kind of talked about this a little bit last week. If they enter that forbearance situation, are they untouchable, or is there something we could still do if they want to go buy a home?
So prior to last week, they would be untouchable for a full 12-month period after they got out of forbearance. And they'd have 12 payments on time after getting out of forbearance. As of last week, the government agencies came out with change in that rule. And now if someone gets out of forbearance and they make 3 on-time payments, they can get a new mortgage.
Oh, good.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's great news.
people who went into forbearance and then continued to make their payment, they didn't actually miss any payments, then as long as they're out of forbearance and they continue to make payments, they can get a mortgage right away.
Cool.
So
Great. That is huge. That's
Yeah,
good
that's awesome.
news to get to our peeps. And so tell us, as I know Janessa is probably gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, we gotta
Like,
wrap
come
it up.
on, yeah. I know Denise has a quote, but Valerie, before we do wrap it up, where can our clients get in touch with you? And I know many of my clients have used you for their home purchases, for refinances, and they also invite Miss Valerie to their housewarming parties.
Yes.
And even when I couldn't make parties, Valerie's with my clients, like taking pictures and selfies and sending them to me. So you want to get to know Valerie. She's a lot of fun. Where can they reach you at?
You can call me at 303-522-4994 or email me at valerie.fisher@primelending.com.
And she will take good care of you. So get in touch with Valerie. She's a good person to know. Denise, what's our inspiration today?
No matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world, and that is by Robin Williams. And I think the question of the week for everybody should be, it's another Warren Buffett thing. He said, I've been told I need to have a special diet and it'll give you extra life. He said, no, eat what you want. You're going to be in pain. You won't enjoy it anyway, so just eat what you want. So what do you want to eat?
What do you want to eat?
What's your thing?
I love it.
I'm going to get me some cake.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, sorry, Denise.
I want Mexican food. I love Mexican food.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
right. I miss our Mexican food dates.
I know. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching again today and joining us. Next week is our drawing, our Wheel of Names. So make sure you share. This is your last chance. Share, comment, engage. Let us know what you want to eat. And we will get you entered into our drawing next week. And then also tune in next week to see who our winner is.
Yes, we do that live. You do that techie, spin the wheel of fortune. And and Valerie's going to be with us next week. So we got our blondes who can be the Vanna Whites being.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a great week.
Have a great week.
Bye.
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 Bye.